Hey, what's up, everybody? It's another episode of Because I Feel Like It podcast. It's obviously Thanksgiving Eve. Everybody getting their meals ready. Hopefully, we don't see no struggle plates tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a lot of eating and a lot of football on the TV tomorrow, man. But yeah, we just wanted to sit down and talk. Discuss the stretch run of the NFL season and what may not happen, what may happen. Some weird situations taking place, but it is what it is. What's going on, Artie?
Man, yeah. Hopefully, I don't have to eat a Las Vegas Raiders plate tomorrow. Hopefully, I don't have to eat a Las Vegas Raider a Chip Kelly plate tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um,
struggling. Speaking of that, he got fired. It was somebody was going to take the fall, and
yeah,
then and you can't you feel bad, but you don't feel bad at the same time because the team overall is horrible outside of Max Crosby and you know Max Crosby and what's the tight end Brock
Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Yeah, the school the team is horrible, man. The team is horrible. Those are two best players that have the quarterback ain't much enough no more, man. He's
Uh,
regressed.
Probably the worst
Extreme-
offensive line in the league.
Right. Yeah, he regressed extremely, man. Like I thought at least that Gino would be serviceable out there. He looks like a backup right now. If that, that's stretching it right now.
So I know we're going to look ahead, but I also just again shout out to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, it was kind of easy work against the Raiders, but shout
Yeah.
out to the Cleveland Browns. Shador Sanders being the
Yes.
first Browns quarterback since '99 to win his first start.
Yeah.
So I'll start there. Shout out to him, and I guess we're going down the stretch run. Buffalo 7 seed, Kansas City 10 seed, Houston
Yeah.
just beat Buffalo a game behind them. Baltimore Ravens back into the division lead. The AFC is looking crazy.
Right. Yep.
AFC is looking crazy. I think we'll probably have the home field advantage go through New England. That just seems like the most logical
Right
thing
now.
at the
Yeah.
moment.
Right now. Yeah.
But in terms of, I mean, I doubt it happens, but in terms of maybe Josh and Pat missing the playoffs, um,
Yeah. They're a 10th seed East. Yeah. She
yeah,
said 10.
I mean, I don't know what we can really expect out of them right now. There's that's probably, in my opinion, that's the most up and down team in the NFL. Obviously, they've got the Cowboys tomorrow, and I can't really say honestly. Just speaking from what I saw last week, the Eagles did drop the ball, in a lot more than one way.
Yeah.
But with the
And that's
Chiefs
saying the least.
defense, George Pickens going over there, CD Lamb going over there. I think the game is in Dallas.
Right. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, let me see. Is the game? Let me see where they got the game going on.
Yeah, at Cowboys, 3:30, 4:30 Eastern.
It really
I,
depends.
I don't know if they come with the bunch that they're in. Obviously, it's not too far away. They've got 6 games left. With the
Right.
bunch that they're in, having to go to the Cowboys, a Texans team that's just really defensive and keeps the game low scoring and stays in games. They've got the division game against the Chargers, against the Broncos. They've got 2 games against the Titans and Raiders. We can probably pencil those in as wins. But outside of that, the Chiefs getting to 10 wins might not be enough, and they might not be able to do it.
Yeah. It's look, man. Like you look at the conference, man. Like you have to. The run started for Kansas City last week. Like your playoff run started last week. The same for the Cowboys. Congrats to them for winning that game. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. The stretch run for the Chiefs started last week, so they got a pile of wins. Can they beat Dallas? Yes, but what Chiefs team do you see? You know what I'm saying? Do you see the one that's locked in defensively and can run the ball, because they haven't been able to run the ball all year. Just same as the Eagles, they haven't been able to run the ball all year. Can they get something out of one? They just signed. Matter of fact, they just signed Damian Pierce. From the Texans after he was waived. So that's a plus. He was a 1,000-yard rusher 2-3 years or 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago. He just got caught up in the numbers there. Them bringing in Chubb and I forget Woody
Marks. Yeah.
Woody Marks. Yeah, he got caught up in the numbers. But it depends again. What can they run the ball?
Will they run the ball?
Will they run the ball? One, because Big Red, he's always been that way. He's always leaned on the pass game more than running. Even when you knew you had at the time a Brian Westbrook, at the time you had a LaShawn McCoy, the guys was heating up, and they would have one great game, and then they would get 5 to 10 carries the next game. Will he be consistent with it? That's the biggest thing. And once you get that run game, you kind of, even though we see that Kelsey is on the decline, he can still be utilized in the right way. Is he going to use Worthy correctly? Is he going to
Rice?
Right, Rice. Brown. You got guys. It's just how are you utilizing them? Pat is Pat. There should be, even with tomorrow, there should be, one thing I do know that, it's no slight against the Eagles, but it's just the facts. They aren't going to throttle down if they get up. I don't think that'll be the case with the Chiefs. And there's a lot of meat on that bone to pick from in that secondary that that the Cowboys have. You gotta keep picking. Obviously the Cowboys, they had we'll get back to that, but really just with the Chiefs, man, is they, like I said, their run started last week, and if they win this game, they still, I think it's still there for them, but they can't lose going forward, because if not, right, like I said, they're in 10th, so you gotta at least jump the Jaguars at a minimum.
That's why I said 4-2, which would be kind of a good stretch for them here. Would be 10-7, and that might not be enough to get them in. So 5-1 or 6-0 is kind of what they have to do.
They have to go, yeah.
And they have the Broncos, they have the Chargers, they have the Cowboys, and there was another game there that I saw that is a losable game. Obviously, the Raiders and the Titans should be winnable games.
They have to play the Chargers again, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's all in front of them, but do you bet against them? No. But if you take an L in any one of these games, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and I would say not so much so. We can change the discussion to another team that's in a similar position or finds themselves in a similar position. And I brought this up, I think 2 shows ago, where I just said, I don't think the Colts are a very solid team. And if you have to rely on scoring 30 points a game to win games, you're not going to win very many games, especially against playoff teams. And each game that they have lost this season, which has only been 3, they've only scored 20. In 3 games this season, they've given up less than 20. And in those games, that was against the Tennessee Titans, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Miami Dolphins. Every other game, they've given up more than 20. And when they failed to score more than 20, they haven't been able to win a game. And coming up in this stretch, these next 6 games for them, you've got Houston twice, who's 2 games behind you. Mm-hmm. You've got Jacksonville twice, who's a game behind you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say, obviously, if they lose all 4 of those games, probably, but I wouldn't necessarily say they'll miss the playoffs. But do you think Indianapolis for the division is as safe? Obviously, it's not, but do you think it's a safe, a sure thing going into these last 6 weeks? I don't think so. I just don't think that they have a consistent enough offense.
And that's the problem. It's not the entire offense. they went away from Jonathan Taylor last week. That is the problem. Whenever Daniel Jones plays a decent game or a serviceable game, it's because they've leaned on Jonathan Taylor, right? And he had what, 12 carries last week?
He had 16, but he's like 16. Averaging. I mean, he's having games with 30 touches.
Right, that's unacceptable. You gotta get him to at least 20 to 25 touches.
Yeah.
I don't care what the combination of it is, but he needs to touch the ball at least 25 times. In order for you to keep Daniel Jones out of bad situations, right?
18 touches for him, 16 carries. Right. And then Daniel Jones had 3 carries and 31 pass attempts.
That's not good. That's not good.
It's about 2/3 of the time passing.
Yeah, Daniel Jones's passes should be 25 max. 25 max. And then you give JT at least 25. I don't care what, like I said, I don't care what the combination of it is, but the number has to be 25.
Yeah, period. I'm looking here. Daniel Jones' most pass attempts in a game was against Pittsburgh on the 2nd of November. He passed the ball 50 times. They scored 20 points.
Too much, man.
20 points.
Too much. You know, I mean, if the Colts want to get to where they want to get to or desire to get to, JT needs to take them there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they have a good receiving core. No one's saying against it, but we understand who Daniel Jones is. You have to support him with a good running game. You have to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and I don't think all is safe for them. I mean, Jacksonville's also getting Brian Thomas back. Houston's defense has come alive. CJ Stroud's coming back at some point.
Right. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's even more of a reason lean on the run. And it's getting colder. You're going to be outside. And odds are, yes, even if you don't win the division, but you get in, you're going on the road. Which means right now, the only team that has a dome in that stretch, if it plays
out right, they're actually the only team in. Well, I guess the Chargers, but they're the only team in the playoffs outside of the Chargers that play inside.
Right. Exactly.
So if they did fall to 6, they may play Jacksonville, which is they're outside no matter what.
Right. But again, when you're on the road in inclement weather, because it's a possibility, you got to run the ball. That's a fact, man. And then the Chargers, it's possible that the Chargers should drop. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know which 81 yards last week, by the way. And then Walk said Stroud is back this week. So you got news on that. So yeah, man. You got
the Raiders this week for the Chargers, and then you got Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos.
Right. And what's Herbert are you going to see? He had 81 yards passing last week. For all the noise about other quarterbacks, and that's an whole nother situation. Other quarterbacks not throwing 400 yards but winning. My man had 81 yards in a loss. This is Justin Herbert. Yeah, that's not good, man. And it's not like he has bad receivers either. It's just he threw for 81 yards.
And they lost. They lost 35-6. Trevor Lawrence threw an interception in the game as well.
Right.
They're without Brian Thomas. Tootin was their leading rusher, and they lost 35-6.
Nasty work. Big time.
That's another team. I would, if I had to name this season across the board, consistently inconsistent.
Yes.
A lot of these playoff teams that we're going to talk about and moving forward, and the teams that are on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
we really don't know week to week which team we're going to see.
the most consistent team I see, you know, in the AFC right now is the one that's in number one.
And
That
I would
doesn't
say in
mean,
the NFC too.
yeah, that doesn't mean that they're the best team. They're just the most consistent team at this time.
Yep.
You know, and when you're consistent and doing the small things, that matters. You know, and it's just the way it is, and you can't go back on that, man. So it's it's gonna be tough, man. If you get to the if you get to the NFC, I don't know who's going to be the number one seed right now in the top out of the top three.
Not Chicago.
Yeah,
I don't expect Chicago to win the North though.
and then the Rams. If you look at the Rams still have to play the 49ers again. They still have to play Seattle again. You know, we don't count. Obviously we don't count Arizona. It's just it is what it is on them. The Bears or the Eagles at number 2. I don't right now, man. Like I'm not worried about them, but I am worried about them not being able to run the ball. And the reason I'm worried about them in that case is because people, everybody, it's kind of a split thing. Everyone's talking about Saquon's made he's fell off, no, bro. Like it's two things. Two things could be true. He's dancing because he's not playing well, but he's also dancing because the offensive line is horrible right now. The offensive line has had one decent game they have blocked in because they can pass block, but they can't run block. And their best run blocking game was the second game they played against the Giants, where both Saquon and Tank Bigsby had like over 100, right? Both of them did. But the biggest thing is they can't run block at well at all. This is, to me, and I've said it. I said it on Twitter. This is the worst this line has looked in 6 years. From healthy or not healthy, because there's no reason why Saquon should be getting a carry, and he has to do a spin, and then there's a lineman in his back and a lineman right in his lap. You can't utilize RPO if there's no respect for the run game because no one's blocking, right? There's no reason. It doesn't give anything. It's not fooling anyone, and it's Mailata, it's Cam Jurgens, it's Dickerson, it's Fred Johnson, it's Lane Johnson. Who else it's even the guys that come in substitution form. We used to have good backup linemen too, and they're just not playing well. And that was the kind of the reason. And like I said, shout out again to the Cowboys. They didn't fold, right?
Yeah,
they just kept playing, just like Denver did, just like the first game in New York. They thought that, okay, we're going to get up 21-0 and hey, let's go out to lunch and not come back to work. And by the time they tried to come back to work, they were down, struggling.
So would you say? I mean, obviously, as you pointed out, the offensive line, it just leads to not being able to do so many things. It's not just running.
It's not just running.
Even if they're good at pass blocking, it makes it harder to pass anyways because people aren't respecting the run, or it's easier to stop the run against them this year. That could lead to the offensive woes. And obviously, we saw the game against Denver this past week against Dallas, up 21-0. What do you think? And maybe it's not really that. Maybe it's simple. Maybe it's not really that complex of an issue. What do you think is the Eagles' issue in terms of maybe like the second half against the Buccaneers? Obviously, they won that game with not being able to put away an opponent from that position, but being able to play a team as good as the Rams and come back from that position and win a game. And just the contrast of second halves when they're in a close game opposed to when they're up big or when they're down big and how they play.
I think, for one, it's two, maybe three things. I think one, they're injured, but again, if you're out there playing and you're injured, no one cares.
Yeah.
You're out there. Once you lace them up and say you're good to go, you're good to go. No one's going to take it easy on you, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is, I think they should play more with going. I think they should play more with Jalen being under center, right? And I think a good amount of what Saquon's runs were from under center last year, some of the good runs, and then also utilizing a fullback helped, because a couple of times this year they've used the fullback to initiate a run, and Saquon's gotten 6 or 7 yards. But the other thing is, Tank Bigsby does deserve a couple more carries, because he's not as talented as Saquon, but he's also one of those guys that's like, look, I'm just going to go get what's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he knows where he's at in his career. He doesn't have the options to bounce and jump and twist. And look, if there's 2 yards there, I got to get those 2 yards. And I think that might help them. But overall, the line, man, it's just like it's more surprising to me that you can pass block but can't run block. Because some of the times when Jalen gets sacked is because of his own he's trying to make more of a play than what's really there. It's take the sack or throw it away. But it's that, and again, going back to the main thing of the line, people don't understand like how your team, especially Eagles, is built on the offensive defensive line. If the offensive line is failing right now, you're one-dimensional. So everyone knows, okay, we're not going to respect your RPO. We're just going to line up and we're going to just play the pass. But again, when you're playing the pass, you don't have the option of the run. Let's say you go 3 and out. Guess who's affected by that? The defense.
Defensive line. Then
right.
The whole defense, yeah. Right,
and that's what happened in the Dallas game. After they got up 21, they kept going 3 and out. Penalties killed them, especially going into scoring territory. They got kicked out of scoring territory, and boom, 3 and out, missed field goal, fumble. You know what I'm saying? And guess who's back on the field again? Longer. The defense. And the defense didn't have, people say, well, this guy, yes, I understand people are kind of on, I'm on Adoree too. I'm on Ringo. Some of those guys not playing well. However, if they wouldn't have had to been out there all game, the second half, the game is different. But because the offense couldn't block and they couldn't sustain drives, they were out there longer. And guess what happens? The Cowboys came back and won. They did what they were supposed to, but they have to fix this. This is my worry for them. If they don't fix this run game, they're going to win the division, but they're one and done. If they don't,
I mean, whoever they play, if they don't get the number 1 seed, and honestly, they could still be one and done if they get the number 1 seed, get the bye, lose the first game. But there isn't. Maybe Tampa Bay, and I expect them to be, whoever wins the NFC South, I expect them to be one and done too. And if the Bears get in, I probably expect that as well. But there are a couple of teams that maybe they can beat. But outside of that, I mean, the Rams, the Tampa Bay, if they can get healthy, Seattle, Green Bay, San Francisco, it's not going to be an easy first matchup either.
No. And the thing is, yes, I get it. They've beaten all of those teams. They've beaten the Rams. They've beaten the Bucks. They've beaten those guys. However, there was a next week. The game changes. Teams change when it's a one and done, or one and move on to the next week's situation. So, I just feel like right now they have an identity crisis. You know, and I just think that right now they should lean on until they fix. And it's weird to even because it's almost like a contradiction. You know, because yes, you understand that they're going to be one dimensional if they can't trust the run, but this is all they have right now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's worth it to try to, like you said, give Bigsby some carry. And you've got the Commanders twice.
right.
I think it might be worth it to try to figure it out before the playoffs get here.
Yeah.
Even if it does cause you to lose. I mean, you've got a good cushion. If you, it would have been easier to win on Sunday, and then you have a huge cushion, and it's kind of almost impossible. But obviously, that didn't happen. But I just think moving forward, kind of have to figure it out. And like I said, that's why I asked the question, because when it was 21-0, I kept it in the corner of my eye. And usually with Eagles games, when they get 21-0, I expect it to get to what the NFC Championship score was last year.
Right. It just hasn't.
But I kept it in the corner of my eye, just thinking, I don't know. Maybe it won't be like that.
But here's the thing, Artie. They did that. They did the same thing when Denver came to Philly. They were up 21-3. They were up 21-3 at the end of the third quarter, and then ended up losing 24-21. They didn't score one more time. If they would have got a field goal at any point, like last week, if they would have gotten a field goal at any point in the time where they got into, and that's another thing with them, the penalties. They had 14 penalties last week. 10 of them are on offensive linemen. 10. 3 of them were when they were driving to score, or at least get some sort of score. That's, to me, people would like, I understand there are some things I don't particularly care about. I don't particularly care for when it comes to the OC.
Right.
But if you're going to complain about the OC, you as the player have to have personal accountability for the things that you can control, right? Blocking, not bobbing your head and getting a false start. You coming into the game as an extra lineman declaring and then covering up the tight end. Though in the one play, and I'm not gonna, I said on Twitter, I'm not gonna name the guy right out now, but it's just like that was your one play. All you had to do was declare yourself and not cover up the tight end. And that was on a 20-yard catch by Goddard that would have got them to like the Cowboys 27. They end up getting a 5-yard penalty. They go third. Now it's 3rd and 7, and boom, they have to punt. But again, that would have been at least three points at that time, where the Cowboys were still they hadn't caught up yet. It's player. My thing was player initiated mistakes. If you're going to blame the OC, you need to do your damn job too. So.
Yeah, and again, I think consistently inconsistent. All of these teams. I mean, in the NFC, again, I just think that East is locked up. In a way, who cares who wins the South if Tampa Bay is banged up? Yeah. And then the North is up for grabs. Obviously, Green Bay plays Detroit tomorrow, and I just. Again, which Green Bay are we going to see? Are they going to have an offense tomorrow, or are they going to score 20 points? Or are they going to score 14 points?
14 points, yeah. And Jacobs comes back. Jacobs will be there tomorrow too. So,
and then the Lions.
Yeah,
you were just down 10 to the Giants almost the whole game, and they stuck into the game. And also, the Giants didn't kick a field goal on the 8-yard line to make it a 6-point game.
Right, yeah, that was dumb.
Let that be tied. Go to overtime. Score. I don't know what happened to Dexter Lawrence, but he's obviously the best defensive tackle they have. And on the first play of overtime, Gibbs runs for a 55-yard touchdown,
and he wasn't
without Lawrence on the field. I don't know if they're tanking, and they might be. They probably should be. There's nothing worth for them winning, really. But a team that's trying to lose, and you had that much trouble beating them.
Yep.
Do the Lions go 0 of 6 on 4th down tomorrow? Like, it's just week to week, we just don't know the answers to these things. Do the Bears find a defense all of a sudden? So the NFC North is obviously probably going to be up for grabs in the last week of the season. I don't know who wins. I really don't. I know the Vikings don't. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I know for sure.
Yeah. Look, man, like I get it. You didn't want to keep You didn't want to keep Darnold. You didn't want to keep Daniel Jones, and you put all of your chips into JJ McCarthy, and he's. I don't want to disrespect him, but he does not look like the answer. He what 12 for 19 for 87 yards.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And it's not like you got Addison, you got Hawkinson, you got Justin Jefferson, you got a decent running game. Why would you compromise that? I don't care what you think this guy was, right? You just went 14-3. Why would you risk that and go backwards? Even if you went backwards with Darnold, I think even at a minimum, dude, they're a 10 or 11 win team.
Yeah, I think too. Sometimes, and we've seen it in the first game of the season, and then obviously he got hurt, and we've seen it on drive to drive. I mean, last week, not really, but drive to drive. It's a different quarterback. It's a different play calling. Sometimes Jefferson's not involved. Sometimes it's just quick pass game. Sometimes there's no pass game. The Vikings are just kind of all over the place. They don't have the defense of last year either to hold them up when they're struggling.
Yeah.
So that's just, I wouldn't say it's kind of weird because, as you said, why would you just throw all of that away after going 13-4 or 14-3, whatever they went?
Right. It makes no sense.
I don't know. Yeah, let's get into this. From an organizational standpoint, I don't know if you can play the Uno reverse card. Like, what do you do? What do you do now? Because Kevin O'Connell is just known from, hey, he said it right. The young quarterback doesn't fail the organization fails them.
I don't know where they go to at this point. You can't take a draft pick. You can't take another draft pick because that's gone now because you drafted him.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to at this point. And I think they're stuck, man. You have to see this through. I mean, you may go get another backup to him next year, but you got to stick this out. And then if this comes up next year and you don't make the playoffs, who's losing their job? Someone has to lose their job.
Yeah.
Whether it's the head coach or the GM.
Because this is the trial year for sure.
Yeah. If they don't win you can scratch this year. But if they don't get to the playoffs next year, someone's leaving. And it might be all three. It might be the head coach, the GM, and the quarterback.
Yeah.
It sucks, man, but they put themselves. That's what they did. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't see any promise there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then outside of that, like I said, San Francisco plays the Rams. They play them twice still, or no? They've already played them once, I think.
Played them once, so they got to play them again. But all of them still have to play each other. The Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. They all have to get in there with each other. So who's to say, right now it looks like the Rams are going to win the division. Because if you got to choose between Darnold and Brett and Stafford.
You're
going to choose Stafford. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even though I love what JSN is doing out there in Seattle with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet and a couple of other guys out there. It's just your trust factor with a Darnold is just ugh. Like he had a big game the other week. A big game to showcase if he's learned anything the other week, and he just three picks?
Four
before, and it's just like you can't trust them, man. It's just too much film, or not film, but it's just too much evidence there of him shrinking when they need him the most.
And that was against the Rams too.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
So the Rams look good, man.
Yep.
The Rams look really good.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody overtaking them for the division. Brock Purdy, 3 interceptions the other day against Carolina. Obviously, they won the game, but
that's another decision that's going to have to be made.
Yeah, Mac looked good too.
Yeah, man, they gave him $250.
Yeah, I think they're stuck.
No trade clause.
They're stuck for now.
Yeah,
but those are probably not anything they're going to figure out now, unless I always say every time they lose and he throws multiple interceptions, he's hurt and there's somebody else starting the next week.
There's one guy I do want to talk about though. Like Bryce Young, and I hate even saying it because you can tell there's something there, but there's not enough there right now. And I'm not saying give up on him, but I wonder how patient the head coach and the owner are with him at this point.
Well, the draft pick was made. I follow Carolina a lot. One of my friends is a big Carolina fan, so I follow a lot of what they do. The draft pick was made by the owner. He wanted Bryce. I think it was pretty clear. Josh McCown was the offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach.
Right.
And after the workout with CJ Stroud, he said, they were talking about playing basketball together in Carolina and see you in Carolina and stuff like that. The owner wanted Bryce Young. And he said that he's basically a point guard. It doesn't really matter who you have at receiver. He can get them the ball. Now, in the NFL, it matters who you have at receiver.
Right. Exactly.
And I just think it's also they've been through. This is now his 3rd or 4th head coach, and this guy wasn't there. Canales wasn't there when they picked Bryce Young.
So it's not really his guy. So yeah, that's
and what you know about all offensive coaches, they want their guy.
They want their guy,
and they're gonna be stubborn in that. And I see Carolina. They have a lot of success. Kind of the opposite of Philadelphia is. They're pretty good at run blocking and not very good at pass blocking.
Right.
And they have their success running the ball most of the time. You saw Rico Dowdle earlier this year when they went on that run.
Yes.
He had 6 carries. Chuba Hubbard is nowhere to be found anymore. His role has declined immensely after coming back after injury.
I noticed that too.
They don't run the ball at all, and they put the ball in his hands. And they had this chart going around a few weeks ago of 0 to 9 yards, 10 to 19, and 20 plus, and people's accuracy rate. And Bryce was one of the top in the deep ball, one of the top 5 in the deep ball, and in the 0 through 9. And he was the worst in 10 through 19. Do you know where most of Carolina's passes are? In the 10 through 19.
Yeah.
Where he is very, very bad. Not his strength whatsoever. From day one, when Canales came in, I kind of thought he doesn't like Bryce, and
he tried to bench him. He benched him for Andy Dalton.
He came, and that the day before that happened, they played on Sunday. They went after the game. He said, "Bryce is our guy." He's still starting moving forward because obviously you're going to get asked about that when somebody's not performing very well. Next day, he has a news conference. I watched the film, and it looked like he hadn't slept the whole night. I watched the film, and we're going in a different direction. Andy Dalton is starting for us.
Yeah.
After being very sure, hey, Bryce is our guy. And what changed in that 24 hours? I'm not too sure. And
he was this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I just don't think and all offensive coaches have this. I just don't think that he's Canales' guy. And maybe at some point they go in another direction. And I also feel sometimes Canales puts his team in the worst possible position to score points and ultimately win games. You pick off Brock Purdy 3 times, and you have a chance to maybe run, settle in. It's not like your running backs are bad. It's not like you run the ball bad. You run it pretty well, and
But that,
and you don't do it. And I think since Canales has been there, almost all of their games they've ran the ball more than 20 times that they've
but
won.
but there's one thing though. Like there was a bad pick in that game that Bryce threw, just bad.
Yeah,
Just like that's the thing. It's like it's one of those situations where you can literally say two things can be right at the same time.
yeah. I think the first one was really bad. The second one, to me, I think I wouldn't say to make an excuse for it, but I feel like McMillan's arm was kind of getting pulled a little bit, and maybe he would have been able to reach out. Would he have caught the ball? I don't know, but I don't think that the safety comes crashing in and catches it. I think at least McMillan gets to it first. He's had trouble with his hands this year too, but he's got a great talent as well. The wide receiver they picked in the first round last year.
Yeah.
But I just think like all around, it's just they are going to have to at some point either say, and obviously they're doing much better than last year, at some point either say goodbye to the coach or goodbye to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to coexist ever.
No, something's going to give.
And what is it going to be? I've heard rumors, and mostly probably fan rumors, but stuff about Kyler Murray and how he may not be on the Cardinals next year. And where would he go? Pittsburgh, Carolina. I'm not sure. I guess you could call it the short quarterback carousel.
I am not a fan of Kyler Murray, man. Like I thought about that a long time. Like I'm just not a fan of him. Like I'm not saying he's because I don't know him personally. Don't get me wrong. It's just that whole thing where someone had to put a clause in your contract to say you need to study these amount of hours. You can't live that down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how do you can you mature? Yeah. You can. Absolutely can. But for that to be put into your contract and then you agree to it, that is embarrassing. That is almost admitting that you just don't fucking care.
I think his time in Arizona is obviously done.
It's done. Yeah, it's done.
That was it was a soft benching just in case they reconsider later, but he was ready to go. They said he was suiting up and they were going to use him in some circumstances. He didn't suit up, and then the next week he's on IR.
Yeah, he's not coming.
I think his time in Arizona is gone, and that's like I said, that's an interesting situation based off, if Carolina, Bryce is going to be up for his contract extension talks. They're probably going to go in a different direction, I think, especially if they close out the season without winning too many more games. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I also think that it might be an unfortunate thing for Bryce just based off of he may have never got a fair shot with people that actually wanted him in Carolina.
Right.
Besides the owner who doesn't coach the team. Frank Reich went over there. I think that was his first coach. He wanted CJ as well. I think all the offensive coaches wanted CJ, and the owner said, no, we're taking Bryce. And that's just ever since then, you get a new coach after new coach. They want their own guy. So I just think, I don't think we see him there for much longer in Carolina. And where he goes after that, Arizona, who knows where he lands, but hopefully he can land. Because like you said, there's a there.
Right.
So hopefully he lands in somewhere that they want him. And they will maximize his talent.
Speaking of somebody that landed somewhere where they needed him, and I just got to get a guy. Yes, he has some childish ways about him, but George Pickens.
Oh, yeah.
God damn, bro. Like, he's a one. He's, to me, like, seeing CD and seeing George is not to pit one against each other, because I'm not trying to do that. But if I had to choose right now, I'm not saying at the end of the year. I'm not saying 2 years from now. I'm not saying over, the body of work, I would pick George Pickens. That dude, he reminded when I saw what he was doing last week, he reminded me so much. Not you remember that, and I hate to say it like because it sounds like I'm dissing the Atlanta Falcons in the 28-3 and all that shit. But he reminded me of that year that Julio Jones had so much. The acrobatic catches on the sideline and all of that. To me, he reminded me of Julio Jones, a healthy Julio Jones.
He's making it look too easy.
Too easy. I mean, like, God dang, bro. It's like you can't even like some of them catches is like I couldn't even fucking get mad. Like for what? The dude is just that skilled. The only thing, if he could ever just keep that, I mean, you never want to take away a man's, drive or his attitude or what drives him. But if he can just cut the bullshit a little bit, bro.
The Steelers have been looking for a wide receiver all year.
And yeah, like, I mean, if you had to choose right now between DK Metcalf and George Pickens, I'm fucking keeping George Pickens.
And the funniest thing is that they didn't have to choose.
No, they could have kept him.
They could have both.
And let's say that fucking let's say that Aaron Rodgers retires after this year, whatever. Right now they're what? They are,
and he's hurt.
And let's say they don't make the playoffs. Like, you could have used that money to fucking re-sign him.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And at that point, you could have got anybody else.
Yeah, I think for a long time, he's never been, and I think it gets conflated. He's never been underrated by his skill.
No, it's just
it was always stuff that had nothing to do with football.
Football, yeah, man. Like the dude, look, man. Like, and imagine if he stays in Dallas next year. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about him.
I hope not.
Yeah, like you had the quarterbacks on the back end. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't play all that great in the game on Sunday, but he's still serviceable, and he's not a bum. And I'm not going to sit there and lie and say that Dak is a bum. He's just not great in win or go home situations. He had one great game in the win and go home, or take that back. He had two. The game they beat Brady and them down in Tampa, and then the first game he played against Rodgers. Even though they lost the game, they didn't lose the game because of him.
I mean, yeah, and it came down to a last-second field goal too.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say he's a bum and all that.
I'll just say it's crazy. I'm laughing in my head because, and I agree with you, but I think 2 years ago people were having a discussion of who's better, George Pickens or Deontay Johnson.
Yeah,
and you just said you would take George Pickens over CeeDee Lamb 2 years later, and that's why I said he's never been underrated because of his football.
Man. And I like CeeDee.
That dude, the way he runs routes.
Yeah, there's a different skill level there.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, and I love CeeDee. That has nothing to do with the drops. Even as a rival, there's nothing to do with the drops. There's just a clear difference in ability.
Right. I would say CeeDee's probably more of a physical receiver, and I'm telling.
And he's
George Pickens. Sometimes when you watch him, and obviously on Sunday, but sometimes when you watch him, like you said, Julio Jones, but you look at this guy and like, this is an all-time great type of receiver.
Yeah.
And he catches everything.
Yep.
And
I don't think I've seen him drop one.
So sometimes when he runs with the ball, I'm like, man, if he gets hit, he's gonna fumble. But he's just having fun out there, and just the
Yeah.
game's so easy
Easy
for
to
him
him.
when he's in that mode.
He makes it look like he's just running routes on the air sometimes, man.
Yeah, his footwork is incredible.
It wasn't like he had bummed, Cooper DeJean, and he sometimes Quinyon was on him. It's just like, okay, whatever. And they weren't like they were. It wasn't like they were playing bad coverage. It was just he was just that much better Sunday.
And I don't know how or maybe they. I mean, obviously they did. It's not that they didn't.
Right.
How did the Steelers not? I mean, third round pick. How did they not know that this guy is? You're not going to find a George Pickens.
That was one of those things where I think they just thought the guy was I think they hit the no one's bigger than the program button too early.
Yeah.
And now that you look at the Steelers offense, that is the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine him being on the other side of DK Metcalf. Like, you can't double. You couldn't. Which then would in turn, you could put anybody in the backfield. As long as they could run block, you're in fucking trouble.
And that's why I said that after the first game. If Dallas could ever figure out how to get these guys their targets to make them more efficient, instead of just throwing the ball to CD 20 times a game,
right,
or 15 times a game, if they found a way to get both of these guys involved. Obviously, CD was hurt for a little while, but man, it could, as you've seen in the second half, it looks nice.
Yeah, man, and so like I said, shout out to them for winning that game. They did what they're supposed to do. But what I was going to ask, what question? What was the question I was going to ask? Okay, so that's okay. So yeah, that was the one thing I saw. People, especially on Twitter, where some of the Cowboys fans, they value why is it always, they say regular season wins matter, but if you bring up the quarterback, or if you bring up the win-loss record in the playoffs, now it's a team thing. Like, but you're counting regular season wins against the division, but
You're talking about into comparing teams or quarterbacks?
Quarterbacks, right? Okay. They'll be like, let's say Dak, right? They'll say Dak is whatever 22-2 at home, or he has whatever his record is against the NFC East. But if you say, well, what about the playoffs? Oh, the conversation shifts, and I'm like, or they'll say, or one fan in particular was like, Super Bowls are overrated, but the same fan was saying, well, Dak is this or this and this against the NFC. So I'm like, wait a minute. This is a complete contradiction. You're saying the wins matter against the East, but the whole reason for you trying to get those wins is to complete the assignment that is at the end. So what does it matter? Why do you care? Why do you keep bringing up these wins against the East?
That's the record that looks good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What does it matter? So you're okay. You're okay as long as he can kill the East, right?
Yeah, because if he was 10-0 in divisional round playoff games,
right,
that would be the one they bring up.
Right. Thank you. It's like that, but to me, that says to me that they may not say it, you know what I'm saying? And that's, like I said, it's no disrespect, it's just talking. They may not say it, but I think they're resigned to the fact that this is what they're going to be.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah. So
a lot of their fans don't know anything else.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. You have some of the fans that are on social media. They were at least 10, maybe 15 when the Cowboys won their last title. Most of these jokers, however, are millennials, Gen Zs. You know what I'm saying? It's like you've had 3 generations of people be born. Some of them have been born, gotten married, started families with kids that are in grade school. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know any of that. So when they go to conversate with you and talk about certain things, they're talking from things they never even saw.
Yeah, I mean, some of these, if you really think about it, some of these people may have kids in college.
Yeah.
And they don't remember anything from the last game that they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I just think it's kind of just whatever stat, whatever record looks better for them to argue that point. Because also, what does it matter after Sunday?
Yeah.
You're what are they? 5-5-1?
5-5-1. Yeah.
Chasing an 8-3 team with 6 games left, and that 8-3 team, if you look at their schedule, it looks like they should win at least 3 more games. That means you can't catch them.
You can't catch them, and then you have to worry about actually catching. You got to leapfrog the Panthers. You got to leapfrog the Lions, and you got to hope someone within that top 7 goes on the 3-game losing streak somewhere.
Yeah. What is the point of all of those? You said 22-2 or whatever it was. All those 24 games weren't this year. How many times did those what did that 22-2 get you?
Thank you. Great. Then that's the bottom line. For all of that, what do you have to show for it?
Yeah. I mean, we're 22-2 at home. Well, the playoff game, they won 1 playoff game with him?
2-5.
So they beat Tampa at Tampa.
They beat Tampa at Tampa, and then they beat, I want to say they beat who the fuck?
They lost to San Francisco twice.
Lost San Francisco twice.
Were both of those at home? Because I know the one where the clock ran out on the
one was at home, one was in San Francisco.
Okay.
Lost
to Green Bay at home.
Hell, who was it? It was the Bucks.
Did they beat the Lions?
It might have been the Lions. Yeah, that's who it was.
On the pass interference.
Yes.
And that was in Dallas or Detroit? That's an interesting one. Oh, that was in Dallas. I was going to say that 22-2.
No, I'll take it back and think
it was in Detroit.
Or was it Seattle? It's one of the 2 that they beat.
Because I was going to say that 22-2 at home record, they haven't won a playoff game at home.
Matter of fact, let's see. I'm going to look. I'm going to look at you real quick.
They had Green Bay at home, lost. Seattle at home. Yeah, they beat Seattle 24-22.
Seattle, yeah, that's what it was.
Lost to the Rams on the road. Yeah, so they played 4 playoff games at home, and they're 1-3.
Yeah, I knew it was something. Yeah, I figured it was something about that. But
they're 1-3 at home, and they're in their 4 playoff games at home, and then 1-2 on the road. But that's what I said. So what is that 22? I mean, you're so good at home, and you won 1 playoff game at home out of the 4 you've played.
You got it. Right now, it's not even about judging the Cowboys. Certain teams at this point, you don't judge them in season. They're what they do is judge in the postseason. And if you're just not there, then it is what it is. Like anything to me that anyone else says, as long as they're not being disrespectful to you, is warranted.
I also think I know their fan base doesn't take it as that, but I also think that's a compliment that people are only judging you based off of what you would do in the playoffs.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's no disrespect. I mean, we all get off jokes and we all, have fun with it. But however, I don't want to hear the excuses. If you're this in the regular season, great. No one is not ever going to say that Dak isn't a great or a good or great regular season quarterback. We are talking about what happens in the postseason. You got to get there for 1. 2, you got to advance. Not just 1 game. At least get 2. at least get to the championship game. I don't think that's a hard ask. I don't. With his skill level, with his experience, what over the years he's had there, that's not a hard ask.
I don't think so either. And I think it's actually surprising that it hasn't happened,
Right.
because of how great they are in the regular season most times.
Oh, they had
I think the last time they played the Packers,
right.
I thought it was their year. And I didn't expect the Packers to win that game. And I think the Packers won 40 to 30 or 45 to 30 or something like that.
They had a year where they had 2 1,000-yard receivers, 1 1,000-yard rusher,
A top defense.
a top defense. Like I think Diggs had like 7 picks or 10 picks or something like that.
Yeah.
And Micah had like 12 or 13 sacks. And they still went home quickly.
Yeah, they were favored by like.
It's like you can't say, well, we didn't have pieces.
Yeah, I think they were favored by like 11 points in the Green Bay game.
Because I had them beaten, even that last playoff game they played against the Packers. I had them beating them.
Yeah, they were favored by like 11, 12 points and lost by 16.
16, and it wasn't even where you could say it was 16. It really was like 25.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like 28 to nothing at halftime or something like that.
Yeah, one time it was like 48 to 16, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they scored 2 touchdowns and got the 2-point conversions or something like that.
Yeah, it was bad, but it is what it is. Back to the regular shit. They just have to. Time is running out. You don't know how much longer you're going to have Dak at this level either.
Yeah, and if you can keep George for next year,
right?
And everybody stays healthy,
right?
There's not. Yeah, Micah Parsons is gone. That is a valid excuse. He's a great player, and their DBs have been beaten up injury wise, and on the field, Deron Bland.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's no excuse to not have a great team there with the pieces they have. If they can stay healthy, that's another question. If they can avoid, I feel like every time they get to the playoffs too, it's like 15 offside, false start type of.
It's always something.
Penalties that
always
hit
something.
them just in the playoffs, but I don't think they'll get there this year. If they do, congrats to them.
God bless them.
Because they have a dangerous offense with those 2 receivers. So anything is possible. They can put up points. Can they stop teams from scoring? I don't know. But yeah, outside of that, 76ers.
Yuck. Next topic. I'm like.
No, I just want to give a shout out actually to the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, they're good, man. They're good. Not the Bucks, but Detroit just lost today. So I was watching that game before I came down. They played a good game. Cade missed a free throw at the end that would have tied them up. You know what I'm saying? They were down 3, and he got a foul on a 3-point attempt, and he hit 2 and missed 1 free throw, and then they came down and they had no timeouts. My guy came down and hit the next 2 buckets. What's the kid's name from Oregon?
Pritchard.
Yeah, he came down, hit 2, and then that was the game. The 76ers, man, like, I'm tired. Like, it's not like I don't have a love for Joel or PG, as just hoopers. I'm just tired of them. Like, and then I was speaking to it, we were in Discord with some of the guys that actually report on the team or whatever. And I said that I'm just tired. Like, PG, the thing with Joel, we understand that, okay, he was practicing, goes to questionable, and then he's out for another week or so, or case. PG just got back. They had a Sunday game, right? PG plays, does the little time management things they do during the game, and he leaves the game and he's fine. Didn't see anything was wrong with him. So you figure they have a Tuesday night 8:00 game, right? So you're thinking, okay, they play a Sunday. You got Monday, or you got Sunday night, Monday treatment, Monday night treatment, Tuesday treatment. Okay, the game's at 8:00 on a Tuesday. You think, okay, he's going to play. It's a home game. He's probable Monday, Tuesday he's out. Like, how? Even if you say Joel couldn't play great or whatever, PG, come on now, bro. Like, this is my thing with them. And then they're running Maxey into the ground. And then because you decided to keep Joel and PG out at positions where they need the most help, because you have Andre Drummond starting, Justin Edwards, who should really be on a two-way starting. You got Barlow starting, and then you had Eric Gordon coming off the bench getting minutes. It's just organizational malpractice for how they're handling this team.
And some of these games too, like, I mean, I can just think about last week. No Giannis, and Maxey needs 54 in an overtime to like it shouldn't that shouldn't be the case for a team that talented.
Bro, they lost the game. They lost by 40-42, if I'm not mistaken. And Orlando didn't have Paolo.
Yeah.
They let Anthony Black fry them. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's just no excuse for the things that you continuously see out of this organization, man. This is like, at what point do you just say, all right, yes, as a hoop head, you want to watch basketball. How about I'm just not going to watch them until they figure this thing out? Because and it's like, they got VJ, they got Maxey. There's young guys that you want to watch. If they just took the older guys and said, look, this is what it's going to be, I could watch that. At least them trying, the younger guys. But when you're telling me you have active guys that could at least give the team something and they're not playing, and you keep giving excuses as to why they can't, I don't have time for it.
And Joel was already on a kind of minute restriction thing. So it's not like if he does play, it's not like they really care if they're only going to play him 24 minutes.
Right. Like I'm just at a point now with them. It's like, it is what it is, man. Like,
but a little quick fire away from there before we end this.
Yeah.
Three questions. Charlotte move on from LaMelo.
Yeah, I think it happens.
Ja out of Memphis.
Absolutely. I think that's going to happen too, because there's no disrespect to the people of Memphis. I just think that he needs to change the scenery, man. Like, and I'm not going to even claim to know Ja. I'm not even going to get in that space, because you know how Memphis is, how the people are there, the great people, but at the same time, they're going to protect their own. I just think it's time. It's just not, it's something that is not right there. There's just not, you know what I mean? I think he needs to get out of there. They need to work with him to find a spot where he will grow on and off the court. You know what I mean? Because with everything that's going on, he's lost himself some money. Obviously he's getting paid because of the contract he has, but there's so much more there for him and potential.
Yeah.
If he just got it together and matured a little bit more, and hopefully can get into a spot where he can do so without all the distractions being there. Because I think the world of Ja, man. Like, I just think just how he came into the league, the skill level he showed. The only thing I didn't particularly care for is that, well, not the only thing that I didn't particularly care for. I just think he need to work on his jump shot.
Yeah.
And not hitting the floor so much at his size. With LaMelo, is just Charlotte, great city, just not for him. You know what I mean? Like, in the type of ball he wants, he's playing, it's not for him.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree with both. I also think that the way Charlotte seems to be going with the draft picks they made, I
Yeah,
don't think a LaMelo point guard really fits that team, anyways.
right.
And it seems like obviously John, the coach of Memphis, have not been on the same page. Ja hasn't even been playing, so I don't
Right.
see why that wouldn't happen. And then my last one, just sitting here now, 17-1. Do the Thunder have a chance to have the best record? And
Yep.
you think so?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that, and they're beating people convincingly too. Like
Look at the
every
great ball that's being played, though, man. And that's the reason why I say that. Look at the brand of ball that's being played. They beat you on the offensive side at all three levels in the paint, mid, and three. And
yeah,
then they come back on the defensive side and they defend you mid or three, mid, paint. Because guess what everyone else is trying to do now? Everyone's trying to run, but and everyone's shooting threes when everyone can't shoot threes.
yeah,
And guess what they're doing in turn when you're going to shoot threes and you're getting long misses? Guess what they're out and running lobs,
easy twos.
SGA, Jalen Williams, J Dub, catching an open guy, open
And that's
three,
that, that,
layup.
that's another thing. Williams is hurt.
Yeah,
He hasn't played, so and they're 17-1. Without
right.
him, Dort was out. I
Yep.
think he's still out. So without their best defender, and here's another thing, and maybe I'm overreacting to this. I don't know of a time like you said they beat you in the paint, they beat
Yeah.
you in the mid range, they
Put all
beat you
three
from
phases
three.
of the game, man.
But
Besides of
with
the ball.
outside of Hardenstein,
Mhm.
they do that the paint, the mid range, and three with guards with their guards and their big men. Like
Yep.
their big men beat you from three, they beat you from mid range, and they beat you in the paint. Their guards beat you in the paint, mid range. Like everybody on the team. It's not the dude that's AJ Williams, or I think his name, Ajay
Mhm.
Williams, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. I need some out.
That dude probably on some teams, even on bad teams, might not play. And on a team like this is contributing because him too. He's getting to the rim, scoring,
Yep.
hitting shots in the mid range, hitting threes, and he's probably the smallest guy they have.
Yep.
And they do it with every guy. It's not just, I mean, SGA is obviously incredible, but it's not just him. And
And
everybody's bought in too. SGA's playing. I saw SGA block a center shot, I think, a couple weeks ago. What
and,
other
and guess what?
guards do that, averaging 30?
And guess what? And guess what? Whose pick they have next year?
The Clippers.
Right. So
Yeah.
what if they parlay that trade? What if they parlay that pick into someone else? Not say they don't even draft it. Let's say they trade it for another guy that's on an aspiring contract that possibly could help them even more. What the fuck do you do?
I don't think there is anything because, like to your point, it's just a brand of basketball.
Right.
All
Yeah.
of these guys,
They could
if you
play any
watch
type
them
of
in
football they
college
need
or
to play.
you watch them on other teams like Hardenstein with the Knicks, all of
Right.
these guys played different style of basketball
Mhm.
before they got there,
They could play
and they've
any.
all bought into playing exactly the same.
Yep. And they could play. They could play any type of game you want to play. You want to play fast paced, they can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to grind, they can do that. If you want to shoot threes, they can do that. If you want to play a defensive game, they can do that. Like
Still one of the youngest in the league too.
in their core, and at the core of their team and how they're structured, the attention to detail is always there, always, and they don't make it hard. So what do you do with that? When
And I know
every
they're
team,
on. I know they're on a run too.
right?
But we just brought up the low management and the resting for Philly. This team is 17-1. They just won a championship. Nobody's sitting out that is not hurt.
And they're all under what? Maybe outside of starting Hartenstein, they're all under the age of 25. What the fuck do you do with that?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, dude, like They're gonna be around for a long time. I don't care if they lose a piece or two. They're gonna regenerate just as fast because they still have pick. It's not even just the damn Clippers pick. They have other fucking picks, so it doesn't fucking matter. They'll regenerate and just keep right on trucking.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard one to stop. I think they do it. I think they're up like 3 right now against Minnesota, but
Yeah.
I think they do it. It's looking very hard for them to lose. So
I think, and when they get to the playoffs, I think it's relatively easy.
Oh yeah,
yeah, especially because now they have the experience of what it needs to get there. They went through the. It's not you can't. It's crazy that you can say, well, they went through a trial run on the way to a championship, but literally went through a trial run and learned how to win on that while being the age they are.
Yeah.
So they're not just, you're going to get more experience, more ways to beat other people and kick your face in.
There were a few games they lost last year where it was just like, if they were in the situation before, they wouldn't have lost that game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's scary. So I don't even know if we need to be worried about Philly or Milwaukee or lost the Lakers or anybody. I don't know who's beating this team.
It's pretty much OKC and then everyone else, dude.
Yeah.
Even with Detroit, they just came off that long win streak, 13 wins in a row. It's like it's still OKC and then everyone else. So yeah.
I agree. Well, that's the stretch run. Me and Marcus subscribe to the pod, right? YouTube,
yes.
Twitter page. It's because I feel like a podcast.
Yep.
Instagram. We'll be back for sure next week. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Hopefully there's no Tennessee Titans plates on social media.
Yeah, no Arizona Cardinal plates either. You know what I mean? But
Dallas Cowboys plates for the last 30 years.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right, man. Y'all have a good evening. Y'all have a good night, man. Shout out to Walk. Shout out to the crew, man. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll be up with y'all later.